So, D23 happened. Marvel Studios dropped a handful of juicy content nuggets into our laps, including the thing I was probably most excited about, the trailer for the upcoming Secret Invasion show. This story has the potential to be a real game changer, to bring in new characters and settings, to flip a lot of existing stuff on its head, and most importantly, to tell a fascinating, well-plotted story. With the amount of moving parts and plot twists required to make the most of the premise though, it could also fall flat on its face. Luckily, there is somewhere Marvel can look to, if they wanted a few pointers on how to adapt Secret Invasion in a satisfying and successful manner, and that is, say it with me everybody, the legacy animated show Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Well, at least we know they're Skrulls, right?
In this video then, we're going to look back at that adaptation, break down why it works so well, think about what lessons the upcoming MCU version could take from Avengers EMH, as well as what Marvel's gonna have to do differently in order to fit this story into the MCU of 2022. Or 2023, I guess. But first, if you're worried about real-life secret invasions of your data and privacy, then listen up, because I'm thrilled to tell you about this video's sponsor, Atlas VPN. Atlas is a virtual private network, which uses military-grade encryption to keep your data secure and keep your searches private. It also blocks ads and malware, and it's very handy for streaming. I mentioned a couple of videos back what a shame it was that I couldn't watch Wolverine and the X-Men on Disney Plus here in the UK. Well, with Atlas, I can. I just use it to connect to a US server and voila. It works for other services too, New Girl's back on Netflix, and if my international viewers want to watch Rick and Morty or The Office or It's Always Sunny with their Netflix memberships, you can do so here in the UK, which of course means you can do so anywhere with Atlas VPN. And right now, Atlas VPN is running a huge discount. It means you can get a 3-year subscription for just $1.99 a month with a 30-day money-back guarantee, and this deal covers all your devices. Time is running out though, so get your deal by clicking the link in the video description below. And this is the best VPN deal in the market. By following that link, you get a whole whopping 82% off with this deal. You can even use it to save money while booking stuff like flights and hotels. Tell you what, I bet Nick Fury wished he'd used Atlas VPN to secure his data. Could have saved him a whole lot of bother. But yeah, on that note, let's talk about what went down during EMH's Secret Invasion arc. After the climax of the Season 1 finale, which saw the Avengers defeating Loki to save Asgard, the heroes return home. But that isn't the end of the episode. The show's first season ends with this moment.
Steven Rogers. Huh? The infiltration has begun.
It takes a while for Season 2 to get rolling with Secret Invasion. The Skrull menace is something that only the viewer really knows about for the first batch of episodes. So there's dramatic irony out the wazoo. There's this horribly ominous, claustrophobic feeling that results from seeing this imposter, this sus imposter, impersonating someone we've come to know, lying to our protagonists, negatively impacting the team, their missions, and the world. And we see these impacts. There's an episode where the Kree, the interstellar arch-enemies of the Skrulls, try to do a little mini-invasion, and just as Captain Marvel seems to be getting close to convincing Ronan to maybe chill out a little, Skrullcap intervenes and royally screws things up.
Avengers, attack!
Cap!
Not long after, the Secret Invasion arc begins in earnest, with one of my favourite episodes of the show, Who Do You Trust? This is the episode we're going to focus on primarily in this video, because in many ways it's the blueprint for this show's Secret Invasion as a whole. The plot, in a nutshell, is the Avengers are out celebrating Carol's joining of the team when Griffin attacks the city. The team leaves to go stop him, but Tony's kidnapped by Black Widow before he can join in. It turns out that the Griffin attack was set up by Quake on Nick Fury's behalf to distract the Avengers and get Tony alone, so Fury could tell him about the Skrull threat.
This is a Skrull. A shape-shifting alien that can take the appearance of anyone. They're invading Earth. It's already started.
Upon finding out about the Secret Invasion, Tony heads back to Avengers Mansion, tells them that per Fury, one of them's a Skrull, and pretty much causes the team to implode as a result. Then we zoom out to see Fury watching. Turns out this was his plan all along. By pranging out so publicly, Tony's pretty much cleared himself. If he were a Skrull, that's not how he'd have reacted. He'd have played it cool, but no, he reacted in a very messy, very human, very Tony Stark way, and destroyed the Avengers. Well, I tell a lie, the team team isn't quite destroyed. 4 Avengers remain when the credits roll. Wasp, Hawkeye, Hulk, and leading them, Captain Skrull-America. Captain Ameriskrull. It's the Skrull. He's in charge now, and it's at this point that you start to wonder if this whole snafu hadn't been planned by others besides Fury too. Turns out, yep.
How did it play out?
Exactly as you predicted. Soon Earth will be ours, as it is written. My queen.
As it is written.
This is the point at which the viewer first finds out that Mockingbird, Fury's right-hand woman, is also a Skrull, and in hindsight it makes a lot of sense. Clearly, Fury's attempt to flush out the Avengers Skrull was compromised by Mockingbird from the start, its real purpose being to clear the Avengers of any members who could feasibly figure out an imposter, and place their mole atop the hierarchy, in a position where he's subsequently able to take the Hulk out of the equation. This illustrates what I love best about this show's take on Secret Invasion. It's this delicate dance between dramatic irony, see Skrull Cap, and the next plot twist, the next thing we don't know, the next thing that recontextualizes everything we've already seen. And this dance is orchestrated by Fury and Queen Varanke, yanking our heroes around like marionettes. All this comes to a head in the wonderfully tense scene where Tony returns to the mansion after learning about the threat.
What are you looking at?
Iron Man. He is standing in the corner, cloaked.
I love this scene. This show had really strong characterization, and the way the team responds to the news and Tony's accusation of Hawkeye is one of the best demonstrations of this across its short run. Hawkeye was a late addition to the team, and even after joining, he was always pretty insecure about his place on it. Click the card on screen now for like a whole video about that. So getting called out as a fake was always going to reopen old wounds. Pairing that up with Carol's whole by-the-book mindset, which by the way this episode explicitly set up earlier,
they pulled me into special investigations not long after. They knew I was a big believer in law and order. Without rules, we got nothing.
that turns this tense situation into a powder keg.
Unless you're a Skrull, or Miss Marvel is.
Let's everyone just breathe. Everyone just...
Knowing what we know about these characters, this was always going to play out the way it did. And maybe that's the point. After all, it's Varanke as Mockingbird that engineers the Hawkeye accusation.
Baron Strucker was gonna execute us both, but Madame Viper stopped him. She suggested to Strucker they keep Hawkeye alive. We were taken to the dungeons where they separated us.
He's a suspect, Tony. That's what we're saying.
She'd know he'd react like this. She'd know Carol would press and press for him to be taken in. See, the great thing about this is the show don't tell element. We see how total, how complete the Skrulls' infiltration and observation is through the way their plan manipulates these heroes. It isn't just the viewer who knows these characters intimately. The Skrulls too know these heroes inside and out, and use this knowledge to further their own dastardly schemes. But none of this is obvious. You have to figure it out for yourself. That's why I love this episode, this Secret Invasion. It has you second-guessing what you've seen, just as the characters on screen do.
Captain America could have been a Skrull from the day we found him. Ms. Marvel was working with an alien when we met her, and Panther. Panther was gathering information on all of us.
This episode isn't the end, of course. The storyline continues a few episodes later, first with an episode about the Skrull captives escaping, then with the 1-2 punch of infiltration and Secret Invasion. Infiltration lifts its premise almost directly from the comics, with a ship of fake Avengers crash landing and getting into a bit of a tussle with the real ones. This is a fun episode. It's not as complex as Who Do You Trust, but it's a cool thing to do with the infiltration premise, and we get some great action sequences as a result.
Avengers assemble! But only the human ones.
The following episode is just a very good conclusion to the saga. There's not so much to analyze here since this is essentially the big explosive climax of everything this season had set up previously, but it does bring in some interesting if vague ideas about media, perception, and reality.
The damage is already done, I think. Because you humans believe what you see.
That might seem kind of irrelevant, but keep it in the back of your mind as we proceed. So if I were to try and summarize why this adaptation worked so well, the first thing EMH did right sounds simple, but it's worth noting. It made Secret Invasion a big deal. This arc constituted a good chunk of EMH's second season, and the build-up started halfway through season 1. The infiltration mattered. It shaped a huge chunk of this show's run. It broke the Avengers up. For a time, at least, it reshaped the relationships and power structures of this world. And next, this wasn't a gripping, well-told story just because there are a bunch of plot twists and big reveals. It's partially because these twists and turns are foreshadowed and built up to, because we're given just enough of the information beforehand, because it all makes complete sense in retrospect, but also, a lot of the enjoyment here doesn't come from plot. It comes from character. It comes from seeing a bunch of people we've come to know figure out their situation as the viewer does. Strong plotting, strong setup, but also strong, faithful character work. Faithful in the sense that both the Avengers' failures and triumphs here follow on naturally from the people we know them to be. So that's the Secret Invasion of Earth's Mightiest Heroes. And now it's time to look toward the MCU. So what lessons could this new project take from EMH? Before we get into that though, I think we ought to talk a little about an idea that's come up since that D23 panel. That the Secret Invasion story may be based in part upon problematic, perhaps anti-Semitic tropes. This concern isn't unique to Secret Invasion. Similarly, there's some pretty reasonable skepticism around the upcoming Cap film, introducing an Israeli super soldier starring a Jewish actor and being called New World Order. And let's not forget the ridiculously yikes upcoming Harry Potter game. But some have voiced the concern that Secret Invasion, centering as it does on a cabal of foreign, hostile forces blending into governments and power structures to control the world, is in part a new spin on an idea which has been around a while and has in the past been used to fuel anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. And while I think concerns like this are valid, after all, I do have a whole series about looking into modern works of media through the tropes and historical narratives which influenced them, personally, I don't think there has to be an issue here with Secret Invasion. And there's a couple of reasons why I think that. First, if you go far enough back with the general idea of a worldwide secret infiltration, you may well get to some unsavory places, but Secret Invasion only really drew on that stuff indirectly, through intermediaries. The biggest source for this storyline is pretty obviously Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which weirdly we talked about a few weeks ago in another video. Insert 2 Nichols meme here, I guess, but I think the fact that the primary inspiration here is a beloved, widely influential piece of pop culture, which itself pivoted the secret replacement narrative away from ethno-religious ideas and toward political ones, goes some way in assuaging these concerns. Furthermore, EMH's adaptation shows that the meaning of this story, baggage or no, can be focused just as much on the harmfulness of paranoia and distrust as on the idea of some, well, secret invasion. So now that we've got that out the way, what can the MCU's Secret Invasion learn from this previous adaptation? Well, it might be a good idea to give us a window into the Skrulls' perspective, like EMH did with Sculptin America. We'll come back to this in a second, but we're going into this show almost blind. If the show wants to involve the audience in the way EMH did, a good way to do that would be to drip feed some information to us, preferably early on, and preferably not just in, like, an expository opening monologue. It's still hard to speculate precisely how the show could do this, since we don't even really know who's showing up. Casting information's still a well-guarded secret, but it's looking like Fury will be our main protagonist and point-of-view character, along with maybe Maria Hill, and possibly Emilia Clarke as Abigail Brand. We've got Ben Mendelsohn's Talos, of course, but going from Far From Home and this trailer, it doesn't seem like he's clued in to whatever Skrull scheme's going down here. That could change early on, or take Brand. Maybe we get introduced to her, the real her, as she escapes capture and unmasks an imposter posing as her, mid-transmission back to the mothership. Maybe that's how she gets involved here, and something like this would provide an opportunity to clue the viewer in early on as to what's going down. Another leaf I'd love to see Secret Invasion take out of EMH's book is centering the mystery, or at least one part of the mystery, around a standoff, a scene of distrust like we saw in Who Do You Trust? And that's partially because I think scenes like this are a lot of fun, but it's also because for a story like Secret Invasion, all about distrust, conspiracy, and facades, a scene like this serves to bring all that highfalutin thematic abstraction down to a concrete level. We see very clearly in scenes like this the results of paranoia, the breakdown of interpersonal bonds, and so on. It's not as if EMH invented this type of scene, not even close, but I think it'd be a real shame if Secret Invasion didn't follow suit and put together a big set piece of of people in a room together trying desperately to figure out who, if anyone, is real before it's too late. If you want another example of what I'm talking about, go check out Season 4, Episode 15 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Self-Control. It's a masterclass in this type of thrilling, paranoid action, and I may well make a video all about that episode one day. That's how good it is. And here's the part where I continue listing aspects of EMH's adaptation that Feige and the fellows should think about replicating, but honestly, I'm struggling. And that's because while these two properties are adapting the same story, they're doing so in very different settings, and in very different ways. There's some things the MCU can't take from EMH's version of this arc. For instance, the next point I was going to make was that Secret Invasion should try to replicate the way EMH made this infiltration feel like a big deal, because again, it was. In the comics too, Secret Invasion was a hugely significant event. Heroes died, until they were revived years later, of course, and the turmoil of the invasion set the stage for dark reign and siege, seismic shifts in that world's status quo. This sense of magnitude might be harder to pull off in the live-action version, though, especially since, as of now, it doesn't seem that there's a single Avenger or superhero confirmed to show up. Not counting War Machine, of course, but come on, he's hardly A-list. While this could just be Marvel Studios keeping some secrets close to the chest, at best we'll see a handful of familiar faces. And that's fine, I get it. These actors are expensive and busy, but that does mean the show might have to work harder to feel like a really weighty, global catastrophe. Or at least it might have to achieve this feeling in a different way. Remember, the Secret Invasion of the comics wasn't initially the best received event of all time, and I think you can chalk part of that up to people feeling shortchanged when it was revealed their favourite characters were actually little green men in disguise. EMH got around this by letting us know from the get-go. Cap's replacement wasn't a retcon. But yeah, the MCU can't do this, because another difference here is that in the MCU, there hasn't really been that build-up. The MCU hasn't set any of this up, not really. Thanks to Captain Marvel, we know Skrulls exist, we know they can shapeshift, we know their MO is to infiltrate worlds, but that's about it. With the possible exception of like maybe a post-credits scene somewhere between now and the Disney Plus series, we know of zero replaced characters. Sure, there's some solid bets, Sharon Carter for one, maybe that Martin Freeman character, maybe War Machine since Armor Wars apparently continues from Secret Invasion, but at present, the average viewer has no reason to suspect anything's amiss here. So really, the Secret Invasion show's got two choices. Reveal that major characters were Skrulls all along, risking backlash and dissatisfaction, or revealing minor characters were, your Everett Rosses, your Sharon Carters, and those aren't exactly bombshells. To a point, this lack of build-up isn't really Secret Invasion's fault. There's countless writers, countless directors and creatives responsible for the past year of MCU content alone. Contrast that to the comparatively tiny number of minds responsible for plotting out EMH's story, and it becomes clear that holistically building up the mystery throughout the franchise would have been a very tall order indeed. No, for all these reasons, however good that original story was, however good an adaptation EMH's Secret Invasion was, the MCU's going to have to chart a new course, at least partially. And I know saying that is sacrilege to a certain type of Marvel fan, but hear me out. I don't think that's a bad thing. No, there's some really exciting opportunities here. First, we touched on this before, but where we're at with the Skrull presence in this universe pre-Secret Invasion offers a pretty unique opportunity. Previously, audiences have only seen these green fellas as the good guys, and a couple of times. We know Talos, he's a cool dude, he's a goofball. With this background, this show won't be able to approach the infiltration with the simplistic Skrull bad mindset we've seen before. Maybe we lose something with this, the atmosphere of fear, of malice, of the utterly unknown, but I think we also gain the possibility of a more nuanced story, thematically speaking. If the Skrulls aren't a monolithic force of evil, if we're coming into the story already aware of their potential for good and their past struggles, that sets the stage for some potential Skrull versus Skrull conflict, physical and ideological. This also provides a great opportunity for the show to step even further back from the potentially dicey associations of the evil race infiltrating and controlling the world trope we mentioned earlier, because we'll know from the get-go that in this version, it's not a racial thing. The Skrulls aren't all sneaky, conniving tricksters. That like any population, there's different people and factions with different goals and values. Moreover, if this upcoming adaptation is going to focus less on the slow burn, the build-up, the who do you trust of it all, then maybe it can pick up some of those ideas EMH suggested at towards the end about perception and reality. What with fake news, the encroachment of outright propaganda into the mainstream, and just like everything else nowadays, these ideas are a lot more relevant, a lot more pressing than they were when EMH was on the air. The MCU had a punt at exploring ideas like this back with Captain America the Winter Soldier, and I for one wouldn't mind the franchise taking another shot, a more focused one in the landscape of 2022. It's doubtful it actually managed to say something profound, but I'd welcome the attempt. There are opportunities here then, even though the MCU's in a very different place compared to both pre-Invasion EMH and 616. I just hope the show goes looking for them. To wrap up then, we've learned what the MCU can take from EMH, but we've also learned what it can't. And hey, just to be clear, my framing of this video around what the MCU could take from this old cartoon instead of, the original source material, isn't to say that it shouldn't look to the comics first and foremost for inspiration. It's just that there's gonna be plenty of other creators making videos about Secret Invasion, comparing the trailer or the show when it comes out to the original source material, but probably not so many comparing the upcoming adaptation to this previous one. I had a lot of fun revisiting EMH's take on this storyline. It's an idea I've had for months, but I thought I'd wait to do it until we had a better idea of what the MCU was going to do with it. That being said, I don't see myself doing another EMH video for a while. But I talk about all sorts of movies, games, and TV here. The new Rick and Morty, for instance, that's a recent video I'm super happy with, as well as, of course, other animated and live-action Marvel and DC projects. So if you liked this video, maybe give some of that stuff a look. And hey, this video's been a long one, so just a reminder, Atlas VPN's got that massive discount going. Check it out, get your deal by clicking the link in the description. A 3-year subscription for just $1.99 a month with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Wouldn't want you guys to miss out on that. But thank you so much for watching. I did my best to get this one done and dusted as soon as I could after the Secret Invasion trailer dropped, so I'd really appreciate any likes, comments, and shares. And speaking of appreciation, everyone on your screen right now is hella cool. They're my patrons, and as always, I'm super grateful for the support, so thanks guys, especially Kevin Douglas and Ian Fifield. Oh, P.S. if you want to join in the fan campaign to revive this show, follow the account on screen now and just keep an eye out for upcoming plans like hashtag events and so forth.